Hello everybody, welcome back to the Omega Solutions channel. Today I wanted to talk a little bit about building computers versus buying pre-builds of computers, the desktop PC specifically. This all came about because this is my old RAM, and my old RAM went up and died on me, kind of. It's still semi-usable. I just get the blue screen of death because there are addresses on them that are corrupted or now just dead or something like that. So it crashes every hour to 2 hours ish under high capacity loads. So I'm like, I can't have this, especially if I'm at work and I'm in the middle of a meeting and it just crashes for some reason. I can't have it. So I had to upgrade my RAM, which is nice. I actually got to upgrade. I didn't want to spend the $200 it was to upgrade my RAM, but I did it, and it'll be nice that we have a little bit better setup. But this stemmed my whole thought process of letting you guys know what it's like to actually build your own computer versus buying your own computer. So let's talk a little bit about my history with computers. So I grew up with, in about 5th grade, my brother gave me his old build of computer. He built his own computer, so I got to see him go through the process of building a computer, and that actually stemmed my loving for computers and just the idea of programming and software development and like computer engineering, all that kind of stuff. So I kind of like walked in his footsteps for a bit, and I played on that computer for a long time, played Minecraft way back when, 10 years plus ago. And also in my high school years, I got myself a cyber power pre-build, so it was a pre-build. But I understood every single part in it by the end of it, and sadly my power supply blew out, and I was so confused at what kind of power supply I needed. It was actually, like, I now understand how easily it would have been for me to buy any power supply at that time, but I didn't know when I was a kid, high school age, but I wanted to, extend my information on to other people. So that brings me to about 2 years ago when I was working at this channel kind of stuff, trying to get this stuff going. And I'm like, I need a good computer. So I got myself a pre-build because this was during the time of crypto going crazy and graphics cards were blastedly expensive. Man, I hated it. I had to spend $1,800 to get a 3070 in a pre-build. So that's what I was literally looking only for the graphics cards and a decent maybe other stuff. But I saw the 3070 and I'm like, that's good, and it was a decent deal at the time. Now I probably could have gotten something better with that $1,800 I spent. But I got that pre-build and I started noticing what people do with pre-builds. So sure, pre-builds, you might get a good graphics card and maybe a good computer or CPU processor. And that's basically it though. Everything else, they give you the bottom line minimum what you could fit in a computer basically. So that pre-build, I had a motherboard that had no expandability options at all. It had 32 gigs of RAM, but it was the slowest RAM you could get. It had a motherboard with this that was slow. It could fit a graphics card, but it didn't utilize the whole power of the graphics card because it didn't have the PCIe slot that could, that was the newest PCIe slot to be able to maximize the speeds. So my 3070 wasn't even being used to its best potential. So what did I do? Well, first I had to replace the power supply unit because that pre-build, they also put basically a 500 watt power supply unit when I need like 1,000 watt or 800 watt, something like that, 800 watt plus. So I got a new $100 into a new power supply unit. Then I'm like, well, all of these parts are being limited because the motherboard was bare minimum, can't actually support the speeds that could be supported by all the other parts. So I upgraded the motherboard. That was another couple $100. So $300 in, I'm like, okay, this sucks, and everything. Oh, but then I got the motherboard. I'm like, wait, my case is too small. This is a pre-build that had a small case. So I had to buy a new case, $50, something like that, $60, I think. So I bought a new case. It's very big, expandable. That's the one I have now, which I'll show you in a second. So I got a new case. So now I've replaced everything. The only thing left is basically the storage, the RAM, and I guess the processor and the graphics card. I still have the same processor and graphics card. Those two were decent because those are the things that you're looking for. But I upgraded the motherboard and everything. And then now, just recently, oh yeah, and then eventually I'm like, I need more storage because I'm recording all the time. I need more storage. So I bought a 2 terabyte solid state drive that was also really fast. great deal I got. It was $200 though. So that's like what? I think we were $300 down the gutter there. It's now $500 down the gutter to, you know, upgrade up this pre-build to actually what its potential is. Then I'm like, just recently this past week, I've been getting errors and bad addresses on my RAM, and it causes blue screens of death when it's under high capacity. So I had to upgrade the RAM. That's another $200, $700 in on an $1,800 pre-build. Now I could have complained to the manufacturer and everything, but the thing is, what is the manufacturer going to do? They're just going to send me the same crap stuff. I wanted to get my potential out of this thing. And of course I had to buy a cooler because when I got the new motherboard and putting the CPU in, the old cooler actually couldn't fit the motherboard because it was a special cooler for the pre-built company. So I'm like, well, this sucks. So I basically had to replace everything. Now, what did this teach me? It taught me that if you have the know-how, pre-builds are a pain. They cost a lot, and what do you get from them is like they give you a couple of good parts and the rest of the parts are bad, making it so the good parts actually aren't being used to their 100% potential. So that's like my conclusion of the whole story. Now, I do understand the quality, the ability to get, or like, I don't know, the know-how of getting pre-builds and how it is effective for some people, because some people, they don't not know have the know-how of how to build a computer. So in that case, yes, a pre-build actually might be good for you. And as that pre-build starts to break down, like parts start to break down over time, like mine, then you might as well learn about your computer more. Start upgrading your computer. Of course, one of the hardest things ever is the motherboard, I feel like, but you know, you start learning and you start growing. And that's where I'm like, I think in the end, it's just, if you're gonna do your own PC setup and really run PC as your main station, like your main workstation, main game station, you really need to step up your game to know what you're using, what you're getting, what you're upgrading. And that's like my whole stem of this 7-minute conversation. Now let's show you the computer. What do I have today? So this is a camera view of the inside of my computer. I can move the camera around a little bit. So down below here, you can see that little slot that's below the graphics card. That is the old SSD. I still use it because it's still a terabyte of SSD. It's pretty solid. There's a new SSD on this side between the GPU and it's like down right in here of the cooler. That's my new 2 terabyte SSD in a PCIe 4.0 slot. And now this 3070 is also in its own PCIe 4.0 slot, which is nice. I have 64 gigs of Corsair RAM right there, which is pretty awesome. And I even have the expandability of maybe getting another little bit, so I get up to 128 gigs in the future. And of course, I got the new cooler and the CPUs underneath that, of course. Now, I have a whole bunch of other hard drives, like full-on hard drives underneath in this capacity thingamajig right here, but it's not seeable. I don't feel like trying to show you around. There's like, I have a cooler under there for the PSU on the back, but that's basically what it looks like. And it's kind of nice. I get the privilege and to look at my lights, and I'm like, that's pretty cool, isn't it? So, you know, it's pretty cool that I got to build a computer. But it really shows me that, like, I really wish I knew from the start, especially in this economy where, you know, especially with Black Friday coming up, that parts are cheap. So might as well buy the parts, build your own computer. And I'm like, I really wish I had the capability of doing that back then. I just want to instill that knowledge to you guys, that if you do your research and everything, then really, yeah, get your own like PC, desktop PC if you want to be that. I have a whole nother opinion on whether you should get a desktop PC versus getting, like, say, a laptop or a gaming tablet, which that's a whole nother thing because I have a gaming tablet. But yeah, we'll talk about that in our conversation. I just wanted to like tell my story of my experiences with a pre-build kind of company and like the parts they give you. If you guys like this kind of like story kind of stuff, let me know. Please give this video a like, subscribe to the channel. This tech channel, we want to take it off somewhere. I'm trying to like be more relatable to people rather than some of these higher tech people that like they talk about stuff that half people don't understand. I want to be more relatable, and I want to understand like what you guys are looking into and how I can help. But thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you all later.